Welcome to the Explainer. So how on earth does a test pilot outrun and shoot down his own aircraft with his own bullets? Well, today we are dropping right into the crisp blue skies of 1956 for a seriously mind-boggling true story of what happens when the laws of physics push back. Picture this. A sleek, vintage 1950s fighter jet is diving sharply through a totally cloudless sky. The pilot fires off a blistering stream of tracer rounds. The air goes quiet for, just a few seconds. And then, violently, the jet takes heavy, catastrophic impact damage from a completely invisible source. There are no enemy fighters, absolutely no anti-aircraft fire.
Part 1. The Setup and the Dive, 1956.
So our pilot is Tom Attridge. He's a highly experienced test pilot, taking off from a military base in New York, and he's testing the firing capabilities of a brand new cutting-edge machine. We're talking about the Grumman F-11F1 Tiger, literally one of the world's very first supersonic fighter jets. He flies out over the Atlantic Ocean for what, by all accounts, should be a perfectly routine test.
Now, scale and altitude are everything here. To give you some perspective, Attridge takes this incredibly powerful machine all the way up, cruising at an altitude of 20,000 feet. At this height, the air is thin, the skies are crystal clear, and he has a massive amount of room to push the aircraft to its absolute limits. From that towering altitude of 20,000 feet, Attridge starts his test by entering a steep 20-degree downward dive. And keep that specific angle in mind, because it's absolutely crucial to the terrifying physics problem he is about to unwittingly create for himself. Locked into that 20-degree dive, Attridge pulls the trigger. He fires a rapid 4-second burst from the jet's nose cannons. And we aren't talking about small bullets here. These are 20mm explosive tracer rounds. You really have to picture this intense visual. These blazing tracer rounds slicing through the air directly ahead of the nose of the plane, just painting this bright, lethal streak across the sky. He lets go of the trigger, naturally assuming the bullets will just race off toward the horizon.
Part 2. The Physics of the Paradox, Outrunning Ammunition.
Okay, so the moment Attridge stops firing, two distinct things happen. First, the bullets leave the guns, right? But immediately after letting go of the trigger, Attridge engages the jet's powerful afterburners and actually steepens his downward dive. He is pushing the Tiger to its absolute maximum velocity, completely unaware of the trap he's just set.
Let's break down this catastrophic physics loop step by step. Step 1. The very second those bullets leave the barrel, atmospheric drag instantly starts slowing them down. Step 2. Gravity starts pulling those slowing bullets into a downward arc. Step 3. At the exact same time, Attridge's afterburners are accelerating his jet in a tighter downward dive. And Step 4? Well, those two paths are now destined to brutally intersect.
This whole setup brilliantly illustrates the core paradox of our story. Attridge was flying a supersonic jet. By traveling faster than the speed of sound, accelerating rapidly and tightening his dive angle, he actually overtook his own decelerating projectiles. Think about that for a second. He had literally become his own target. Consider this incredibly tight timeline. At 0 seconds, the trigger is pulled. At 4 seconds, the burst ends and the afterburners are engaged. Just 7 seconds later, a mere 11 seconds after he first pulled the trigger, the jet slams directly into the exact same 20mm explosive bullets he had just unleashed. 11 seconds. That's all it took to go from a routine test to an absolute disaster. Part 3. Impact, Aftermath, and Legacy. The crash landing. The jet was absolutely hammered by the devastating force of this self-inflicted strike. I mean, one bullet completely shattered the armored windshield. Another cleanly cut right through the jet's nose cone. But the fatal blow? That came from a third round that tore directly into the engine's compressor blades, causing an immediate, violent engine failure. Imagine the absolute chaos in that cockpit. Attridge is flying at maximum velocity, and suddenly his plane is shredded, smoking, and the engine is totally dead. Without power, he really has no choice but to desperately try and glide this massive piece of metal back toward land. He falls just short of the runway, bringing the dying jet crashing down violently into a heavily wooded area. Now, you would expect the absolute worst here, but amazingly, despite that terrifying crash through the trees and breaking multiple bones in the process, Tom Attridge actually survived the impact to tell this incredible tale. Because of this unbelievably rare alignment of speed, gravity, and ballistics, Attridge went down in history as the only pilot to ever shoot down his own jet. It's an insane testament to the wild, totally unpredictable nature of early supersonic flight testing. So as we look at the incredible machines we build today, it's really worth asking, When we push the absolute limits of human engineering, are we actually prepared for the physics that push back? It's a terrifying reminder that raw velocity always has unintended consequences. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the limits of what's possible.